Excuse me, I'm just going to get my little tissues there. So, I have to tell you that it's very interesting because I swear that ever since I started becoming a minister, it's like I live my talks before I even talk it. It's like whatever happens in my life, it seems to work out that's exactly what I'm talking about. And so we've been talking about letting go because my whole life has been a series of letting go. So I figured why not do a series on letting go, because letting go is so much more than just letting go of a house or letting go of a car or letting go of a relationship. It's so much more than that. And I discovered this book by David Hawkins, and it's called Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender. And I read this book and I was like, oh my God, this man wrote this book for me. I mean, I was like, I couldn't believe it. And we've been talking a lot about it and the obstacles to letting go, what we hold on to, because it's not just property and stuff. And so today we're going to talk about the two big roadblocks to letting go. And the first one is pride. Now, I don't know about you, but I remember the first time I heard about defects and all this, and pride was mentioned. I was at a point in my life where I thought I had no pride. Why? Because I felt so bad, and I felt so terrible about myself. To me, pride was thinking I was better than everyone else. And then I discovered that pride is not only thinking better than or thinking worse. Whatever you think, if you're worse or better, right away you're pride. Well, David Hawkins gives a few words to describe pride and how pride really appears in our life. And I'm going to read some of them to you. I don't know about you, but I kind of have done all of this at one time or another in my life. But I would tell you that I am not a prideful person. So what is pride? Over-evaluation, denial, playing the martyr, being opinionated. Me? Opinionated? Arrogant, boastful, haughty, inflated, holier than thou, vain, self-centered, complacent, aloof, smug, snobbish, prejudiced, bigoted, pious, contemptuous, selfish, unforgiving, spoiled, rigid, patronizing, and judgmental. Well, this is human beings. So, we're all prideful. And it's like we don't even realize it. So I'm reading this book, and now all of a sudden I see it all over the place. It is like popping in my head. I was at a funeral yesterday, and I made a comment about something. And then after I said, oh my God, that is like, as soon as we talk down somebody else, we're being prideful. Because what he explains is that pride means that we are defensive, that we are proud because we are defending ourselves. We don't think we're good enough, or we think that we're better than. And that as long as we think we're better or we're less than, we're going to be proud. We're going to have pride. And so pride shows up in a lot of different ways. So one way it shows up for me is someone the other day, I have a friend who lives a half a block from me, and I saw her yesterday walking her dog, and I don't see her that often, and she's been sick. So I said, when are we going to be able to get together? How are you feeling? She says, well, my cold's getting better. And she says to me, you don't have a cold, do you? I went, oh, no, I don't have a cold. Why? Because I'm better? A cold isn't going to get me. Guess what, folks? I woke up this morning, and what did I have? A cold. So it's like that idea that, oh, we're better than, it's not going to happen to us. I once had someone say to me, and this is when I was here, and they said, what happens when you can't go to church on Sunday? What happens if you get sick? I went, oh, I am never sick. I have never missed a Sunday. Look at me, aren't I wonderful? I have never missed I woke up the next morning. I had such a bad stomach virus. I couldn't get out of the bathroom. I had to call a board member and say, someone's going to have to do Sunday because there's no way I can do it from here. And there was no way I was going to get to that church. And so we don't realize how sometimes, pride comes in our life. So just one other quick thing, because this is so me. So a couple of weeks ago, I'm at Tybee. And with a friend, it's her birthday. And we're parked, if you're familiar with Tybee, we're parked down by 17th. And so we walk from 17th to the lighthouse, which is really the other end of Tybee, right? We have lunch, and then we start walking back. Now, I'm about halfway, and my knee starts to hurt. Now, my friend is younger than me and very physically active, and I'm thinking she could go get my car and bring it back, but I'm thinking, I don't want to admit my knee hurts, because then I'm going to be saying that I'm old. Or old, depending on how I feel that day. That day she'll think I'm old. So I am going to walk through this pain because God forbid I should admit to anybody that I might be starting to get older. I'll admit to getting older. So I walk to the other end of Tybee. I mean, I am in so much pain. And I walk to the other end of Tybee, and she says, why didn't you tell me you were in pain? I would have gotten the car. And I'm going, pride. And then I went to an acupuncturist last week, and she said, well, how did you get injured? I said, pride. She looked at me and she went, pride? I said, yeah, it always gets me injured, sick, or whatever. It's always it, And so we don't realize that this pride keeps us from communicating with others. It keeps us from relationships with others, because as long as I'm coming from pride, I am thinking that somehow I am better than you or I am less than you, but it means I'm not equal to you. You see, when we see that we're all human beings and we're all living the best that we can be, and we're not perfect, we're just growing, we're at a way of growing, then there's nothing to be afraid of. We don't have to defend ourselves. Why are there wars? It's because one person says their way is right and the other way is wrong. And I saw it again yesterday. I was at this funeral. It was in a different kind of church. And I am criticizing the minister because he is trying to preach and get me into his church. And I'm thinking, I even said, he's like a used car salesman. I got a car for you. If I got a car from you, it's better than your car. You need to get rid of your car. If you want to be a winner in life, you need to drive this car, because only the winners drive this car. Now, I am sitting there judging this man, thinking, oh my God, that person is terrible. He is so proud, and it doesn't even dawn on me that who is proud? Who is going from pride? Yeah, he was, but so was I. Because the fact of the matter is that when I am not coming from pride, I know that he has a right to believe what he believes, and I have a right to believe what I believe. And I don't have to do what he suggests, and he doesn't have to do what I suggest. Because everybody is okay where they are. And we all have that right to just be who we are to be. When we understand, so I got this from yesterday too. It's a Dr. Seuss quote. I love Dr. Seuss. He's such a fabulous writer. I don't think people give Dr. Seuss enough credit for all of his words of wisdom. And he says, today you are, that is truer than true. There is no one who is youer than you. So when we understand that we are us, individuals, and someone else is who they are, and it's all okay. We don't have to feel better about ourselves by making someone feel smaller. And we don't have to judge the whole world because our way is the right way. Because guess what, folks? There is no right way. Everybody goes through life thinking they know what the right way is. But who knows what the right way is? There's some things we'll never know. We're never going to know what happens afterward, although some people will tell you that they know what's going to happen after this life. We're not going to know what's going to happen tomorrow. We're not going to know all the answers of the world. And nobody is going to really know what God is, right? God is one of the most personal things in the world, because what I believe about God may not be what you believe about God, and that's okay. When I got into recovery, they said to me that I could come up with a God of my understanding of whatever I wanted to make it, and I thought, okay. So I thought about it a lot, and I thought, I think God is dog. I think God is dog. So I made God dog because I thought it's dog backwards. It makes sense. And when I thought about unconditional love and companionship and always being there and not caring whether what I did or didn't do, I thought about my dog. I had this dog who could care less what I did. I would leave this dog, because at the time I would do this a lot, and I would not come back that whole night, and I would come back the next day. And that dog never said to me, "Where have you been? Do you know what time it is? I had been waiting all night to go to the bathroom. My legs are crossed. I can barely stand, and you've been out doing whatever you're doing." That dog never said that to me. He never judged me. And I thought, I like that. I think I would like my God to be like that. So when people say they have a trouble with the word God, I said, yeah, but if you think about it as dog, it makes a lot of sense. So I like to think of the word God, and I like to think of the word dog. So what's the antidote for pride? It's love. See, when we understand love, and when we come from a place of love, then there is no judging, and there is no better than thou, and there is none of that, because I love you for who you are, and you love me for who I am, and it's okay, because we're all a work in progress anyway. There's a praise and worship song I love, and it's called Unfinished, and it's all about the fact that we're just all unfinished. We're working on it, we're trying our best, but none of us are perfect. So if I'm not perfect, then how can I judge you for not being perfect? So this pride is a big thing, because we live in this world and we tend to think that way. So the other thing is something that is really near and dear to my heart, and that is desire. Desire can be also thought of wanting. And desire hides the fact that when we're in desire, either we don't have enough, we want something that we don't have, and that desire keeps us from letting go because we want to hold on to things. And desire doesn't mean just stuff. People say, oh, well, I don't have desire because I don't care about this and I don't care about that. And then you talk about it and they have this strong desire. It could be for a relationship. It could be for a way of life. It could be something like just being smarter or just having a better job or just having whatever, and we desire it. The Buddhists say that life is suffering. And what they say the cause of the suffering is that desire, that attachment of wanting things. And so wanting things is feeling, again, like we're not good enough. And we're not going to be good enough unless we get stuff. So what is the opposite of wanting things? And, wanting things doesn't necessarily mean that we buy things. So I used to like to shop a lot at Amazon in the middle of the night because I had nothing else to do in the middle of the night. And there was Amazon, just calling my name. Oh, we're awake. We're here. Come check our website. There's something here you're going to want, because there's everything in the world is here. And so I'm on the website, and sure enough, there's something I want. There's always something I want. Do I need it? No, but I want it. Well, it's fine if I have the money for it. Mm-hmm. See, that's the other catch. Amazon doesn't say to you, do you have the money for it? They just say, here I am. Why not buy me? And I'm like, Oh, yeah, I need that. So the last thing I bought was some kind of chopping machine. I don't know. I saw it on TV. It looked good. Sure enough, Amazon had it. And they were around at 2 o'clock in the morning when I couldn't sleep. So this desire means that we feel that we need something in order to make us who we want to be. But the fact of the matter is that we are already who we need to be. And the wanting something keeps us from getting things. Because by wanting, it means that we say we don't have it. But when we realize we already have everything we need, and when we want something, all we have to do is write it down and then let it go. Because what happens is when we let it go, it automatically comes to us. Now, I'm not talking about The Secret, which was really big a long time ago, and everyone was doing all kinds of manifesting and, I thought this is it, this is a way to get rich, and I'm going to manifest. So I was going to manifest my first church. I had a vision board. It was beautiful. I had a beautiful vision board. It had a picture of this church, and the church had lots of windows, and it looked out. It was in Florida. It looked out. It had a lot of trees. Big church, because big ego. Big church, big children's, big music. Everything was big, and I was going to have this church. So I applied. And I go for the interview. Now, I'm going to get this church because it was visioned. I was manifesting it. Yes, I had read The Secret, seen the movie, done the whole bit, and I was going to have this church. And guess what? I didn't get it. I didn't get it because I was so busy trying to manifest it. I was really saying that I didn't think I deserved it. Instead, I got a little church with no music, no kids, no big windows. They were like lead windows. You couldn't even see out of it. No music at all except the congregation singing a cappella, all off key. And that was my church. So that was a good lesson for me. So I'm at this church, and I see Savannah's opened up for an opening. Now, I'm happy at this church by now. I've been there a few years. Life is good. I love my house and everything. And I said, well, Christopher and I always wanted to live in Savannah, but I like where I am, so I'm not going to apply. And one day we take a ride. The church was outside of Atlanta. We go to Hilton Head. And we're walking along the beach, and I said to Christopher, I said, Savannah had an opening. And he said to me, and you did not apply to Savannah? That is like our favorite place in the world, Savannah. I said, well, I'm happy where I'm at, and everything is good. And I said, yeah, I probably should have applied to Savannah. Well, it's closed. So we go home, and the next day I open up the computer, and guess what? Savannah has opened up again. They had gone through the whole process. They had come down to 2 candidates. They were going to pick one of the 2 candidates, and then someone said, we don't like either one. So they opened it up from the beginning, which is a big deal. And I thought, well, thank you, God, whatever, I'm going to apply. So I just applied thinking, well, whatever. I hadn't planned on it anyway. I was fine where I was. Whether I got it or I didn't get it didn't matter. And lo and behold, I got it. So what I have found is that when I do that, when I look at, instead of desiring something, when I look at something and go, whether I get it or I don't get it, it's okay. Because it's all what is supposed to be for me. And that doesn't even apply to things. Because when we realize that we are here to be of service to others, that we are here to do what our higher power has for our will, that we will have whatever we need. We don't need to manifest. It will come to us. It will come to us just by the right of our being who we are. Because instead of thinking of things, we think of ideals. So you know how I am with movies. So there's a movie called The Life of David Gale. It's about a professor who is at the top of his game, but is a real what do they do when they kill people? Execution. He's anti-execution. Death penalty, anti-death penalty. And he gets arrested for later on for murder and a rape of a woman. And it's a fabulous movie. It's a thriller. But this is a scene where he, before all this happens, and he is lecturing his students on desire, wanting, or whatever you call it.
What is it that you fantasize about? World peace? Thought so. Do you fantasize about international fame? Do you fantasize about winning a Pulitzer Prize? Or a Nobel Peace Prize? An MTV Music Award? Do you fantasize about meeting some genius hunk, ostensibly bad, but secretly...
Is that it? That's not it.
Those small moments of not the it that you want, it to sleep on the wet spot. Meeting some genius hunk, ostensibly bad, but secretly simmering with noble passion and willing to sleep on the wet spot.
I'll take two.
What was that?
I'll take two.
Kimberly will take two. You get Lacan's point. Fantasies have to be unrealistic because the moment, the second that you get what you seek, you can't want it anymore. In order to continue to exist, desire must have its objects perpetually absent. It's not the it that you want, it's the fantasy of it. So desire supports crazy fantasies.
Sorry.
This is what Pascal means when he says that we are only truly happy when daydreaming about future happiness.
He came today.
Or why we say the hunt is sweeter than the kill, or be careful what you wish for. Not because you'll get it, because you're doomed not to want it once you do. So the lesson of Lacan is living by your wants will never make you happy. What it means to be fully human is to strive to live by ideas and ideals, and not to measure your life by what you've attained in terms of your desires, but those small moments of integrity, compassion, rationality, even self-sacrifice. Because in the end, the only way that we can measure the significance of our own lives is by valuing the lives of others.
So the next time you think about desire, ask yourself this: how much do you value others' lives? How much do you value your own life and what you're doing in life? So I invite you to close your eyes for a minute. Take a deep breath. And think about that. Think about what life would be like if we let go of our pride. If we let go of wanting, desiring, and truly we're happy and content with who we are right now at this moment. And instead of desiring things or relationships or cars, be of service to others? How can I be who I was created to be? At the end of our life, we will not look back and look at what we have had, but who we have been. And when we let go of that pride and that desire, we begin to get the courage to be who we were created to be. And so for that, we say thank you. Thank you, sweet spirit. And so it is.